Actually, in order to ensure that this agreement is properly executed, I'd like to propose an amendment on just one point. Amendment. As soon as Klaus said that single sentence, all of the siblings felt as though something ominous was creeping up their backs at the same time. That won't do. We've already decided, haven't we? Just stay quiet and sign it. Why are you in such a hurry, Eva? Of course I'll sign. I promise the share of the gold going to all of you will be 7.5 billion yen. I also promise that when father's inheritance is distributed, I will cleanly and neatly liquidate it. However, there's one point that I simply must insist that you compromise on. What are you talking about? What do you like? The part about promptly paying 10% of your share, 750 million yen. As you pointed out, my financial situation is far from prosperous. While I can guarantee that I will collect on various future investments, I must admit that I am quite poor at the present moment. In short, I have absolutely no money that I can move around right now. I'm incompetent and my business sense is dull. Since I am the loser you all claim me to be, I don't have the power to move 750 million yen in just half of a year. That can't be true. Are you trying to deceive us with such a half-baked trick? At the time of the division of the inheritance, I will liquidate everything at once. Remove the condition that I must pay you 10% in advance. That is the only condition under which I am willing to sign. Klaus Nissan, that 10% is nothing more than a number to measure your sincerity, isn't it? All things being equal, you shouldn't have any room to negotiate at all. We're doing you a huge favor by offering to let things slide for just 10% in good faith money. Now that we've explained that, you rejecting our offer would seriously damage our trust and relationship, right? Hideyoshi had a humble expression on his face and was rubbing his hands together, but his eyes weren't calm at all. Klaus had already seen through to the shadow and the depth of those eyes. Why are you all in such a rush? Or could it be that you're afraid or something? Rosa, won't you tell me alone? Speak at least so the rest of the siblings can hear. It's not as though I... Quit it, Aniki. All we're asking is whether you're gonna sign or not. Just forget about making any strange deals or any other suspicious moves. Oh, you say I have no room to negotiate. Are you trying to claim that I am in a weak position, which therefore puts us in an unequal relationship? Shivers began to crawl up Rudolph's back. He began to feel himself getting overwhelmed by the height of his brother's completely insurmountable wall and the long shadow that had existed since they were children. Shouldn't deals be made between those uneven footings? From my perspective, this deal will help restore the long-lost trust of my younger siblings and deepen the love between us. Yeah, you really sound like you love each other right now. It's an old problem that's been eating at me, and one I would prefer to resolve as soon as possible. I would be overjoyed if we could resolve it today. However, it seems I'm not the only one who'd be quite glad to close this deal quickly. Am I wrong? Klaus stared at each of his siblings. They avoided his gaze with animal-like instinct. Only Hideyoshi was slow in avoiding it, so he was caught by Klaus's gaze. Hideyoshi-san, I hear your company has been doing extremely well lately. At a brisk pace, it went public and both its track record and its stock prices have soared. I'm truly jealous. We aren't here to talk about my husband. However, it is unfortunate that you have neglected your stockholders. It's even more unfortunate that you were unable to solidify your base when you became stock listed. Before you realized that some bad-natured colleagues of yours had bought up a huge share of your company stock, right? How could you know about that? The same way you knew about me. If it's possible to collect evidence proving that no one would offer a loan to me, then it's possible for me to collect evidence on you. Is it really so unexpected as that? Klaus grinned broadly. In contrast, Hideyoshi's face was rapidly turning pale. Hideyoshi's company was a restaurant chain management company that he'd started from nothing. Thanks to Hideyoshi's management efforts, the company had achieved success repeatedly, expanding its range, and a petition to make it a stock-listed company had recently succeeded. The greatest advantage of being in the stockholding system is that you can sell stock as certificates and gain a large amount of financing. That amount tends to be far greater than a business's normal profits. Aaron, you read this whole game in Japanese the first time you played it. This part must have been fun to read, with all kinds of like financial vocabulary left and right. So this is an extremely effective way to gather massive funds to expand the business even further. However, in exchange for financing the company, the stockholders gain certain rights. They're given rights that allow them to observe and guide the company they've invested in, leading to profits even greater than their original investments. Yeah, you should bring them in. I'd like to see them. This right is guaranteed to the stockholders, and they sometimes use it to dismiss ineffectual management. The right allows them to keep an eye on management and prevent the money they've invested in the company from going to waste. However, if they use it forcibly, they can eject the former management and take over the company, good lord. After all, dismissing management and nominating new management are powers held by the general body of all shareholders. That power is determined by the majority decision of the stockholders, and people who hold more stock get to cast more votes. In other words, if some person or group holds a majority of the stock, they can freely chase out the old management and make the president anyone they'd like. If they want, it's also possible for them to make themselves president. Economics 101, yeah. Most companies take various defensive measures to stop malicious people from buying up their stock and threatening their position, like ensuring that lots of stock is bought by those close to them, such as company employees. However, Hideyoshi's company had only recently become stock listed, and he hadn't had time to strengthen those defensive measures. Oh no, Hideyoshi, what have you done? Or maybe Hideyoshi was so engrossed in the management of his company that he couldn't properly understand the dangers of being stock listed. It's hard to say whether he should be viewed as a kind-hearted manager immersed in the work of management, or a foolish manager who had his feet swept out from under him. In other words, there existed some people who wouldn't let him get away with that naivety unscathed. They began repeatedly buying up stock in Hideyoshi's company, rapidly gaining such strength that they couldn't be ignored. They then sent anonymous documents to the shareholders in an attempt to gain control of a majority. The documents read, "The current management continues to make pointless investments and is ignoring the needs of the stockholders. Let us force the current management to retire, cut the current wasted investments, and let this company be born again as one that gives more back to the stockholders." It's very difficult to make the actual state of the company's management known. The fruits of Hideyoshi's sleepless nights and constant concern for his company were cruelly distorted, and he lost the trust of his stockholders. Thanks to these efforts, this group had almost collected a majority of the company's stock. At that point, even Hideyoshi noticed and started to buy back the stock, but the stockholders realized that the company was undergoing an acquisition maneuver, and each demanded a ridiculous price for the shares that Hideyoshi was trying to buy back. They continually tortured Hideyoshi, who had no leeway in the negotiation of the price. One of the certainties of capitalism is that the price will rise when two parties vie for the same thing. And one of the certainties of democracy is that the majority controls everything, so in the end, whoever manages to buy up the most stock wins. Put another way, whoever has the most money wins. Unless Hideyoshi could obtain a large sum of money at this critical time, he could easily lose all he had built so far. I see. That would explain why he wants money right now. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. Why the hell is that written in all caps? He couldn't wait for the division of Kinzo's inheritance, since no one knew when he would die. And you, Rudolph, have been in quite a lot of trouble lately too, haven't you? You always hear people say it's terrifying overseas, but it seems it really is true. American trials are settled quite emotionally. They never hand down generous judgments to foreigners. Weren't you advised by your lawyer that making a settlement with the other party would be more economical in the long run? What is this all about? Well, it's just some trouble from work. No big deal. You don't need to know anything. Nothing you can't settle with money. Can we talk about something else? Kiri immediately guessed the meaning behind the subtle expression on Rudolph's face. Her husband had gotten wrapped up in some kind of trouble without her knowledge and had been worrying over it alone. That's right. In this world, anything can be settled with money. After all, it can even buy back the broken bonds between siblings. America's very fussy about the violation of rights, but with money, anything can be settled. Long live capitalism. though rumor has it that the settlement money could be as high as several $1 million. Rudolf had been building a large amount of wealth with a certain type of niche industry. However, a niche is a Nische. Wie spricht man das aus? Niche im Englischen? It definitely wasn't a business exposed to the light of day. An American corporate giant was trying to accuse Rudolf's company of violating their rights. For various reasons, it was thought that victory for Rudolf in this trial would be extremely unlikely. So niche, okay. And he was being forced into an all-out surrender. But even so, there was a way for this to be resolved with money. If he could just pay that money, it might still be painful, but he'd be able to pick himself back up. But if he didn't pay, he'd lose everything. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now as well. Rosa, you're a good and noble little sister. You wouldn't get yourself involved in a dangerous money game. However, your soft-hearted nature has brought you trouble, hasn't it? In my opinion, becoming a co-signer for anything isn't something one should enter into lightly.
That's none of your business, Klaus-Nissan.
Rosa uncharacteristically laid bare her emotions and yelled. After all, no one was supposed to know that. As Klaus watched, he let slip a muffled laugh. Without exception, every one of them, more than anything else, wanted a lot of money right now. In other words, the situation had been reversed. After all, the person their younger siblings were threatening was the only one who had no urgent need for a large sum of money. The other three, however, wanted a lot of money quickly, no matter the cost. In other words, the longer it took to establish this deal, the better position Klaus would be in. Klaus was extremely sly. He had known of their Achilles heel from the beginning. Klaus used financial trouble. It's very effective. Even so, he had not been certain. Therefore, he had hidden his knowledge until the very end, striking back only after analyzing their attitudes. If it were possible, I would like nothing more than to raise some money from my adorable siblings in their time of need. But unfortunately, I have nothing on hand. If you know of any sponsors that might be able to raise the whole $750 million, I suggest you try there first. Klaus's elated words were so obviously detached from what he actually felt. The other siblings could do nothing more than listen, grinding their teeth. If they could think of a sponsor that convenient, they wouldn't have kept up this charade. They had entered this huge battle specifically because they had exhausted all other options. However, if you do insist on relying on your big brother, I wouldn't mind using my influence to help you find such a sponsor. Oh wait, I do believe you said that I have no influence. Well then, I'm afraid I won't be of much help to you. Klaus's low, gloating laugh began to fill the parlor. The younger siblings, who had been driving the oldest brother into a corner until a moment ago, could do nothing more than grimace, I think, and grind their teeth.
Don't make me laugh, as if I'd ever put myself in your debt. Don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh. If we relied on you, how exactly would you help us?
I told you, didn't I? All I can do is find other sponsors for you. Of course I will negotiate for the highest interest rate possible.
Damn you, taking advantage of us. Honey, please calm down, honey.
I am calm, I'm extremely cool. You bastard.
Curia grabbed her husband's hand, but that action made him feel even more pitiful, so Rudolf shook it off. Klaus laughed as though watching something highly amusing. In times like this, it certainly would be nice to find father's hidden gold. If you did, you could split it up into 2.5 billion yen portions right now. How sad, how very sad. How extremely, totally, truly, hopelessly sad. Tonight, let us all drink together, as we solve the riddle of Beatrice's epitaph and discover the location of father's hidden gold. If we four friendly siblings work together, there's surely no puzzle we can solve. Yeah, friendly, right. Man, he's dying of laughter now. That escalated quickly into the wrong direction. Oh no, it's Madman again, isn't it? Quite an entertaining scheme. Well, and what are the conditions they have attached? Oh, haben die da gelauscht? Well, whether or not Klaus-sama actually discovers the gold, he will pay Iwa-sama, Rudolf-sama, and Rosa-sama a total of 7.5 billion yen for their shares. However, 10% of that will be paid before March. Huh. Klaus, you dunce. To think he would have his feet swept out from under him by his younger siblings. How truly amusing. But it sounds as though they tripped when going in for the kill, yes?
Oh, so there. Yes. Klaus-sama exposed the fact that Eva-sama and the younger siblings all have an urgent need to get money.
Is there even any need to expose such obvious facts? That irresolute, incompetent man. What are they doing now?
That conversation has been put on hold for the time being. Now Beatrice-sama's epitaph is being discussed.
So they're trying to solve the riddle and find out where my gold is hidden.
Yes.
Kinzo set down his spectacles and snorted. Will the miracle be fulfilled first, or will those fools expose the gold first? What a show this will be. At the very moment those fools solve my puzzle, I will suffer utter defeat. They can suck my corpse down to the last fragment of bone. The greed of fools can allow great magic to bring forth a miracle. And yet, if the fulfillment of the miracle comes first, Beatrice will be resurrected again. The smile I have been chasing half my life will be restored.
Oh nein, jetzt geht das wieder los. Here we go again.
Oh, Beatrice. Soon will come the sacred night when we shall bet upon a miracle. And the game of demons shall begin. I will surely prove triumphant and survive. I'll let you have the lives of all those others. I don't need wealth or honor or assets or gold or anything. All I want is to see her smile one last time.
Kinzo choked, apparently in great pain. Kanon got closer and tried to pat his master's back, but Kinzo motioned for him to stop.
Do you know why I went to the trouble of exposing the hidden location of the gold in a place that everyone can see?
No.
It is because magical power is determined by risk.
He said something like that last time.
If the number of people who try to discover Beatrice's gold is great, and the danger of them succeeding is great as well, then the power of magic will bring about a grand miracle if we succeed despite the odds. In other words, magic is a game. It is not the case that the one who performs the best becomes the victor. The victor performs the best because he has been granted magic. Do you see? It is similar to how the miracle of life can be granted only after winning against the divine odds of several 100 million to 1. Is this a little difficult for you?
My apologies.
That's fine. It all comes down to this. I will give all that I have built up to the one who solved the mystery of Beatrice's epitaph. Wealth, honor, gold, and the inheritance of the Ushiramio family. Everything that I have established. My children certainly aren't the only ones with the right to attempt to solve this riddle. Anyone who solves the riddle will have the right to gain everything, even you.
Yes, however, I couldn't possibly understand such difficult riddle.
Of course, you're an idiot. I made it difficult, but you must try to solve it as well. That will form the seed that summons the miracle of my magic. If everyone attempts it and everyone fails, that will be that. However, if the miracles come together and give birth to magical power, it will happen. Beatrice will revive. That is why you must attempt it too. Everyone must attempt it. And in so doing, they will give strength to my magic. Do you understand?
Yes, I will try.
For a long while, Kinzo repeatedly muttered to himself, agitated and clutching at his head.
Kanon stayed where he was, alert and unmoving, until he was given the next order from his master.
Kinzo eventually realized this. Very well, leave me. There is a bag of sweets on the liquor cabinet. You can take some with you as a reward.
I'm fine. After all, I am furniture.
So furniture doesn't even eat sweets? Well, I suppose it stands to reason. In that case, leave me.
Yes, excuse me. Canon bowed and left the study. As the door closed, a heavy locking noise sounded out. No, Gummibärchen, But it was not the sound of Canon locking the door. It was the door locking automatically. No one could enter without Kinzo's permission, and once they left, they could not enter again. It was a mechanism that Kinzo, unable to trust his blood relatives, had created to seal himself up in his own study and isolate himself from the outside world. He was already unable to trust anyone excepting, not the children who shared his blood, but those servants who called themselves furniture.
Ninja-sama, how are you feeling?
Wie soll ich den ganzen alten Opas sprechen? Ich habe nur eine Opa-Stimme.
No, Genji-san. Oh, it's just that there's no place for me to be anymore.
With a bitter laugh, Nanjo turned to face the door to the parlor. That look was apparently enough to tell Genji what Nanjo wanted to say. For the most part, Genji also understood the family situation. It must have made him want to frown, knowing that right now in the lounge, the master he served was being discussed so disrespectfully. But it would have been very difficult to gather that from his indifferent expression.
Still, I don't understand. Why did Kinzo-san have something so provocative written, I wonder?
Nanjo looked at the portrait of Beatrice. No, he actually directed his gaze beneath the portrait at the plate with the epitaph, which we still haven't read. God damn it.
I do not presume to understand the master's thoughts. However, I'm sure he had a deep reason for doing so. Since long ago, when Kinzo-san played chess, he would always prepare his moves according to some far-reaching judgment. Yes, sometimes even to make moves I couldn't understand. For an average person like me, it was impossible to see through to whatever it was he was planning.
Sometimes I wonder if this might be some kind of will in the master's eyes. Perhaps he wishes to hand over his wealth and title to the one who can understand it.
So you're thinking he may have wanted the four siblings to work together and solve the riddle, before some outsider like myself solved it. Kinzo-san may speak of his children in insulting terms, but perhaps he also wants them to repair their relationship.
It certainly would be heartwarming if, as Nanjo had suggested, this epitaph had been made to repair the siblings' relationship. However, both Nanjo and Genji knew that nothing could be more impossible than this. They'd known Kinzo longer than anyone, and Kinzo trusted them more than his own relatives, but even they could not guess at his true motives.
The master always says that everyone has the right to try and solve the riddle, even if they aren't a member of his family. What about you, Dr. Nanjo? No, it's a little too difficult a puzzle for this senile old man. Actually, I once wrote this epitaph down on my notebook. Night after night, I would try to solve it before going to sleep. But it really is hard. It looks like we might have some free time to relax and consider it before someone comes to get us. What do you say, Genji-san? I am nothing more than furniture in service to the master. Golden assets are unnecessary to me. My, you're very modest. I imagine that's why Kinzo-san trusts you so much.
If so, I am honored. As Nanjo lightly laughed in response, he once again looked at the epitaph. Oh, finally, or what? Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. Sounds easy enough to me, just find a fucking river with sweet fish in it and follow it. Done. Next riddle, please. Oh, is there more? The epitaph on the portrait called my beloved witch Beatrice goes as follows. Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. There sleeps the key to the golden land. The one who obtains the key must then travel to the golden land in accordance with these rules. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the two who are close. On the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. On the fourth twilight, oh, goes the head and kill. Good lord. On the fifth twilight goes the chest and kill. On the sixth twilight goes the stomach and kill. On the seventh twilight, the knee and kill. On the eighth twilight goes the leg and kill. On the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. On the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures once and for the last time. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the Golden Land. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch Beatrice. What the hell? Okay. Guess it was a bit more than just following a stupid river.